All right, let's talk about the immune system. So I really try and simplify this because your immune system is one of these things that's very responsive. And so your body is so smart, it's so intelligent, and it's constantly adapting to your environment, and your immune system has a big role in that. So one of the ways that we've tried to make this easy to remember and how you take care of your immune system or how you optimize your immune system are the four S's. So I'll just go through them quickly here and then we'll explain a little bit. So sugar, sleep, stress, and supplements. These are all things that can affect your immune system. So we'll start with the first one, sugar. So we already know that when you consume sugar, it suppresses your immune system for a number of hours. So I saw a couple studies that said, okay, a teaspoon of sugar would suppress your immune system for a number of hours afterwards. So we really want to be careful. There's a lot of other reasons why we want to minimize our sugar intake, but think about this. Around Halloween, Christmas, right? So when we start getting out of our healthy eating routines, and I've seen this in my kids actually, because it's one of the only times in the year that we really just let them enjoy themselves. So I can remember one of my sons, after going crazy with Halloween one year, he had a cold like within the next week or two. And I know around Christmas party season, this is really true too, because people are consuming more sweets, there's more parties and things, there's more alcohol, they're not sleeping as well. So it's interesting that as we change a lot of our eating patterns, we would notice in our house, different amounts of things like little colds and things like that. Nothing dramatic, but you really want to pay attention to sugar in terms of how it try and minimize how much you consume at one time. Otherwise, it definitely can have an effect on your immune system. So the second thing is sleep. And this is one that I know from my body, and I'm really sensitive to it, that if it's not one night for me, but if there's multiple nights or say in a week that you're actually sleep deprived, we already know it can affect your immune system. But I know in my body, that's one of the first things that I can tell. My immune system will let me know if I'm not getting enough sleep. So we talked about before where you want to try and get 30 to 35 sleep cycles per week, which on average is about 7 hours. And that can help optimize your immune function. And naps do count. So let's say, you had a party or something on a Friday or Saturday night. Try and make sure that you're getting full sleep, or you get a nap in the next day, and that'll help optimize your immune function. So the other thing is stress. So what stress does is stress affects some of your hormones like cortisol. And what we know is that your stress hormone cortisol can have a massive impact on how your immune system functions. And a lot of people have really poor cortisol control. And in fact, they have abnormal cortisol cycles, which can affect how your immune system functions, particularly when people are, sleep deprived, and then the added stress throughout the day sometimes leaves them unable to get to sleep at nighttime. They have that wired and tired sensation, which we talked about before a little bit in terms of having adrenal dysfunction. And we know if you have that, it sets you up for other immune dysfunction as well. So a lot of these body systems are very interrelated. Your nervous system, your hormonal system, your immune system, they're all very interrelated. So you want to really make sure you're minimizing the stress response as much as you can, because that can have a big impact on how your immune system functions, both in the short term and in the long term. So really want to keep a handle on your stress levels. Some of the things that I like to do, again, to keep this at check would be, walking, yoga, some things like Epsom salts baths at nighttime, things like that can really have an impact on your cortisol response. They're easy to do, and it can help you sleep really well, and all of that kind of ties in. Then there's supplements that we would take on a regular basis that would have an immune response. So we know that optimizing your vitamin D levels are super important, especially where we live here in Nova Scotia. We want to make sure that your vitamin D levels are optimized. And we've talked about that before. And again, it does depend on your size, your age, your genetics to a certain degree. So we can't really say, all right, everyone should take this amount. But we do know that through the summertime, as your vitamin D levels optimize as you get outside, it doesn't take long at all for your vitamin D levels to decline. It only takes a few months. And that can lead you to being immunosuppressed. So especially where we live, you want to optimize your vitamin D level. Again, Health Canada says you can take up to 4,000 units per day, and that's like a safe upper limit. So you want to make sure that you're optimizing your vitamin D. The second thing that we often recommend people take is a probiotic. In other videos, we've explained how your gut and your immune system are very tightly regulated. And so 70% of your immune system is really closely related to the layer of your gut. So you want to make sure that you're taking probiotics and the right types, and also for some people prebiotics, because that gives the probiotics something to feed on. You really want to make sure your gut health is optimized. So gut health can have a huge effect on how the immune system works. So we really think about vitamin D, probiotics, and omega-3 as things that you would take throughout the year or optimizing on a regular basis. Omega-3 too can have an impact on how your immune system functions. So those would be our standard things. Now, there's a bunch of things you could take should you feel like you're getting a cold or scratchy throat or some type of, you're getting run down a little bit. Oil of oregano is a very potent antiviral. So if you're feeling like you got a cold coming on, this is often the first thing we recommend people take. You don't want to take oil of oregano all the time because it also can affect your gut microbiome. So it's fine to take it, in episodes, but it's not something you want to take all the time. Garlic has also been shown to be a very potent antiviral. So these are things, there's just examples of things. There's a whole bunch of things that you can take if you're feeling like you're run down. Vitamin C would be another thing. Some people respond well to different herbal things like astragalus or echinacea. So those are things that some people would take when you're feeling a little bit run down. So there's other herbal things, but you always want to check with a health practitioner or someone in a health food store to make sure what you're taking doesn't counteract or interact with any medications you're taking. We know these things are safe to take. So we think of it like there's things that you want to do to boost your immune system all the time. And then let's say you got out of your habits and your rituals and your immune system is compromised a little bit. What are some of the things that you would do to try and get it back on track? Those are just a couple examples. So I find if you do a really good job of these first 4 things, these 4 S's, just remember, you want to keep your sugar intake low. You really want to maximize and optimize your sleep. You want to really get a good handle on your stress levels. And you want to make sure you're taking the essentials that affect your immune system. And if you do those on a regular basis, you're going to see your immune system will work really well.